Welcome back again to the Quiet Cabin Reader. Tonight's story is soft and steady, created to carry you into rest with warmth, calm reassurance, and the quiet feeling that everything is already taken care of. Get comfortable, set your volume low, and allow the cabin to gather around you like a gentle blanket, warm enough to soothe and steady enough to hold. The cabin feels especially welcoming tonight, as though it has been expecting you, not with anticipation or urgency, but with the simple confidence of a place that knows what it is here for. The fire rests low in the hearth, glowing with an even warmth that spreads slowly through the room, settling along the floorboards and rising softly through the air in a way that feels natural, almost like the cabin itself is breathing. Light lives here in a quiet way. It does not ask to be noticed. It simply exists as a soft amber presence, touching the edges of the room and allowing the corners to remain undisturbed, calm, and private. The kind of light that does not wake the mind, only softens it. The kind that does not invite focus, only ease. The chair near the fire holds its familiar shape, angled just right, as though it has learned over time what comfort actually means. The cushion gives gently, offering support without stiffness. A blanket rests nearby, folded with quiet care, its weight already promising steadiness, its texture suggesting warmth before it even touches you. This room feels grounded. The floor is solid beneath you, steady and dependable, carrying whatever rests upon it with ease, as though it has always understood how to hold and never question. The walls hold warmth evenly, and the air feels balanced and kind, warm enough to soften your shoulders, cool enough to feel clean and clear, allowing your breath to move without effort. Outside, the night continues on its own gentle rhythm. If there is wind, it moves softly across the roofline, brushing the cabin like a passing thought that never asks to be followed. If there is snow, it falls quietly, collecting wherever it chooses, softening the world into a hush that feels like permission. The trees stand in calm silhouette, their branches holding the night the way wise hands hold a sleeping child, steady and unhurried. Inside, there is nothing that requires your attention. No decision needs to be made. No task needs to be remembered. No part of you needs to stay alert or ready. The cabin carries the night with quiet competence, and your body begins to recognize that it can respond to this steadiness in its own natural way. Breathing lengthens gently without being directed. The muscles of the face soften, not preparing for expression, simply returning to rest. The shoulders settle lower, as though they had been waiting all day for permission to release. The jaw loosens, The tongue rests more easily, and the whole body seems to remember that comfort is not something you force, it is something you allow. There is a particular kind of relief that comes when the environment feels trustworthy. It is not an excited feeling, not even a dramatic feeling. It is simply the quiet recognition that vigilance is no longer needed. The cabin offers that trust without speaking. It offers it in warmth that stays consistent, in light that does not change abruptly, in the way the room remains still and calm. The fire makes a small sound as the wood shifts, and then stillness returns again, as though the cabin has smoothed its own edges. That small sound belongs here. It does not interrupt the quiet, it adds to it, like the soft punctuation at the end of a sentence. A table sits within reach, holding simple things that feel familiar. A mug that may still carry the faint memory of warmth. A book left open, not demanding to be finished, resting exactly where it was set down. A small object or two, ordinary and grounded, quiet reminders that everything can pause and still remain intact. Your body can pause too. You are allowed to take up this time. You are allowed to take up this space. You are allowed to settle without explaining anything to anyone. The night does not ask for proof. It does not ask you to become different before you are permitted to rest. The night simply accepts. The night simply holds. If thoughts drift through, they can move gently, like leaves carried along a slow river. They can appear, float, and move onward without needing to be captured or understood. The mind can actually feel like it softens its edges and allow itself to become less defined, not because you are trying to make it happen, but because the cabin is showing your nervous system what steady safety feels like. The fire continues its low glow, consistent and kind. Its light reaches outward and then fades softly into shadow, allowing parts of the room to remain quiet and private, undisturbed by focus. The room does not need to be fully seen for it to be safe. It only needs to be steady. It only needs to be trusted. The window holds the night like a dark mirror. The world beyond is indistinct, softened by distance and darkness, and the reflection of the cabin's gentle warmth rests against the glass like a quiet portrait. It is comforting in a way that feels older than thought, to know there is a boundary between inside and outside, between effort and rest, between the day and the night. The night is here now, and it is enough. The cabin seems to know how to speak to the body without language. It speaks in temperature, in texture, in the steady weight of the blanket, in the softness of the chair, in the calm rhythm of the fire's presence. It speaks in the way nothing in the room asks you to pay attention or manage it. Everything is already handled. The truth does not need to be announced. It settles into you quietly, like warmth settling into wood. Time feels different in the cabin. It does not press, it does not demand. It stretches gently, wide enough to hold you without hurry, spacious enough to allow every part of you to soften at its own pace. Breathing continues steady and faithful. Each inhale arrives with ease. Each exhale lengthens a little more, as though the body is quietly sighing without making sound. There is no need to track it. It continues on its own, natural and consistent, without you paying any attention. The body begins to feel heavier in a comforting way, not weighed down, simply supported. The chair carries you, the floor carries the chair, the cabin carries the room, the night carries the cabin, and you are held within this layered steadiness that asks nothing in return. The fire's glow becomes less like light and more like a presence, a small, constant warmth that stays close and reliable. The room feels settled into a deeper quiet, as though it has tucked itself in, too, as though everything has decided to become just a little more still, falling into that deeper stillness, that deeper quiet. Outside, the night remains calm. The trees remain steady. The sky remains wide. Inside, the cabin holds you gently. Your body can release what it has been holding. Shoulders soften, hands rest, feet settle. The muscles along the back ease into support. The eyes rest behind the lids, untroubled, quiet, resting and relaxing. The mind becomes less interested in forming sentences, less interested in tracking, more content to simply drift. There is nothing you need to do to deserve this. You are worthy of rest because you exist. You are allowed to settle because settling is natural. You are enough because you are here. The cabin holds these truths the way a fire holds warmth, quietly and consistently, without needing to convince you. The room stays steady. The warmth stays consistent. The night stays calm. And the quiet continues. As the minutes move along in their slow, gentle way, the cabin seems to deepen into itself, growing even more still, as though it has stepped softly into the lower layer of sand. There are small background rhythms that remain, not as distractions, but as reassurance. The faintest settling of wood, the subtle movement of warm air near the hearth, the distant, steady presence of time continuing without urgency. The silence feels full rather than empty, like a soft fabric woven through the room, holding everything in place with quiet care. It does not ask for your attention. It asks only for allowing. The fire remains low and even, a steady ember glow that never surprises. It is constant. It is consistent. It is patient. It has all the time it needs. It burns the way the night burns, slow and steady, not rushing, not trying to become anything else. The blanket's weight remains consistent. It stays where it rests, offering the body a sense of steadiness, the kind of steadiness that tells the nervous system it can stop bracing, the kind that tells the muscles it's time to soften, the kind that tells the breath it can deepen. If a thought arrives about tomorrow, it drifts through gently and it fades, reassured that it will be handled later with the same quiet competence you bring to your days. The night is not the time for solving, it is the time for resting. And rest is already happening, whether you notice it or not. The cabin seems to understand the value of doing nothing at all. It holds the night with quiet dignity. It does not apologize for stillness. It does not justify warmth. It simply continues, steady and safe. The window remains a soft boundary between inside and outside. The world beyond stays indistinct. The cabin's reflection stays warm. The room stays calm. Your body can continue to settle, not in one dramatic moment, but in small, gentle waves. The shoulders soften again. The jaw releases a little bit more. The breath lengthens ever so slightly. The hands rest more fully. The muscles around the eyes quiet. The chest feels easier. The belly feels softer. The whole body seems to sink into comfort the way a stone sinks into warm sand, held and supported. The mind grows quieter in the background, not empty, simply unbothered. Thoughts blur at the edges. Words become less distinct. The space between thoughts grow wider and calmer. There is nothing that needs to be formed, nothing that needs to be held. Everything is already taken care of. The cabin repeats this message in its steadiness. The fire repeats it in its warmth. The night repeats it in its patience. You are allowed to take your time. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to be exactly as you are. The night knows your name in the way safe places do, not by speaking it, but by recognizing you without requiring you to perform. It recognizes your effort. It recognizes your care. It recognizes that you have carried enough for one day, and it offers you a place where you can set it down. The fire continues to glow low and even. The room remains warm. The air remains gentle. The night remains wide. And rest arrives more deeply now, quietly, steadily, without announcement, in its own time. The cabin holds. The warmth stays. The night continues.